In the deep jungle of Dinosaur Peak, there is a small clearing. It's like any other clearing in the park, except that it contains a cave with a waterfall hiding its entrance. No one knows about this cave except for a pair of siblings named Zoe and Max, who discovered it while playing hide and seek. And inside this cave, a valley full of dinosaurs that somehow never went extinct. One day, while exploring, they find a herd of smaller dinosaurs grazing in a meadow. A pack of curious Troodons approaches them, sniffing at their legs. One of them even jumps up and tries to grab Zoe's hat. Startled but unharmed, Zoe screams and runs off. And then she hears a loud crash followed by more screams. She runs to the others and they all look up to see the Troodons trying to climb a rocky hill. At the top sits the baby Ankylosaurus that got stuck after falling from a tree. The kids realize that these dinosaurs aren't dangerous, just misunderstood. So they try to help the little Ankylosaurus get down the rocks. But the angry mother comes charging towards them. Seeing this, Max grabs Zoe's hand and they run away. Later on, they hear another commotion and rush to the scene to see a sick Triceratops. Although frightened, they step forward and calm the creature down by imitating the sounds of a nearby river. The grateful Triceratops allows them to ride on its back and takes them for a spin around the valley. After a while, the sun sets and the dinosaurs start looking for places to sleep. The kids join the herd for the night and wake up early to the smell of pancakes cooked by an Apatosaurus. The herbivore asks them why they don't live in the valley, and they explain that humans would destroy it if they knew about it. And although the kids want to keep this place a secret, they know they have to do something about the impending volcano. When they inform the dinosaurs of the coming danger, none of them took it seriously. But after the kids started guiding them away from the volcano, they realized it was urgent. The animals had no idea that the peak was a volcano until it was too late. Lava started pouring down the mountainside, destroying everything in its path. But luckily, the kids managed to steer the dinosaurs to safety. As they watched the volcano erupt, Zoe thought to herself, "I wish we could go home now." Max nodded in agreement. He didn't want to disappoint the dinosaurs, but he missed his family. Just then, a friendly Brachiosaurus offered them a ride on its back. When the kids were ready to leave, the dinosaurs stood still for a moment, almost as if they understood that this was goodbye. Suddenly, the ground trembled and a giant rock fell from the sky, crashing into the valley. The children froze, horrified by what they saw. From afar, it looked as if the end of the world was happening right before their eyes. The rock had hit the volcano, causing the eruption. The kids explained to the confused dinosaurs that this rock came from outer space, not from the mountain. This made them realize that this wasn't just a normal volcanic eruption. Suddenly, the herbivores panicked and tried to trample the children, who ran away as fast as they could. The kids knew they had to show the dinosaurs that there was nothing to be afraid of, so they stopped and turned around. They raised their hands in the air and started jumping up and down, trying to make themselves look as big as possible. It worked. The dinosaurs stopped and stared at them in amazement. Then, as if they understood what had happened, they lowered their heads and sighed. After all, this rock from outer space had killed many of their relatives millions of years ago. Max and Zoe sat on a nearby stone, hugging each other tightly and feeling very lucky to be alive. They realized that this valley had been a miracle, a place where dinosaurs were still alive and well. However, they also knew that it couldn't last forever. One day, a large meteor would strike the Earth and kill off all the dinosaurs except for a few birds. Of course, this hadn't happened yet, but the kids knew that it was only a matter of time. Suddenly, a friendly T-Rex approached them and asked if they were sad. Max and Zoe nodded in response. The Tyrannosaurus lowered its head and nudged them with its snout as if to say goodbye. Then it turned around and walked away. The children watched it go, knowing that this was goodbye. They said their goodbyes to the other dinosaurs and then walked towards the waterfall. Before they left, they turned back for one last look. The dinosaurs stood in a circle, watching them go. As the kids walked away, They heard the Brachiosaurus call out to them. It wanted to know what would happen next. Max and Zoe stopped and turned around. They knew they had to explain to the dinosaurs that this was the end. It was the end of their friendship, of their time in the valley, and of the dinosaurs' time on Earth. Max took a deep breath and started talking. He told them about the meteor that would hit the Earth soon and how it would kill off all the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs seemed to understand what he was saying, and they nodded their heads slowly. Then, as if they had made an appointment, all the dinosaurs started walking towards the volcano. The kids knew that this was their way of saying goodbye. They watched as the dinosaurs walked away, and they felt a lump in their throats. The Brachiosaurus turned around and stared at them for a long time. Then it took a step back and joined the others. The kids took one last look at the dinosaurs and then turned around and walked away. As they walked, they could hear the dinosaurs calling out to them. They were saying goodbye. The kids knew that this was the end of an era, the end of the dinosaurs. But they also knew that this was the beginning of something new, something that would allow mammals to take over the Earth. They had saved the dinosaurs, but now it was time to move on. When they reached the waterfall, they paused for a moment and took a deep breath. Then they stepped through the cave and disappeared from view. The waterfall rumbled and the cave shook as the dinosaurs approached. The temperature inside the cave started to rise and the air became thick with smoke. The dinosaurs panicked and ran deeper into the cave. The kids had just barely made it out in time. As the smoke cleared, the Brachiosaurus emerged from the cave. It looked around in confusion. Where were the children? It called out to them, but there was no answer. The Brachiosaurus sighed and walked away. The other dinosaurs followed, and soon the cave was empty. The Brachiosaurus stopped and turned around. It stared at the entrance to the cave, wondering if the children would ever return. But they never did. Many years passed and the dinosaurs forgot about the children. They carried on living in the valley as if nothing had happened. But deep down, they knew that something had changed. They had lost their innocence and they would never be the same again. The end.